So hey, how's it going? Today I'm coming to you with day 40 inside of a 60-day video challenge. If you happen to be catching this live, do me a favor, hit pound live. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you happen to be catching this via the replay, do me a favor and hit pound replay and just let me know where you are tuning in from. So today I want to come on live to talk about the fact that I can walk again. I know that it sounds probably a little bit dramatic per se, but earlier today I barely, when I tell you barely, I barely could walk and I barely could move. So let me go ahead and just give you some backstory as to, okay, what happened? How is it that you end up in a position where you can barely walk and in a position where you could barely move? So about a week and a half ago, I was playing some basketball, and as I was playing the basketball, I ended up doing a move, and as a result of me doing the move, I strained my back. So I strained my back and I felt the strain. And when I got home, it was hurting. I was in some pain, but I still had movement. So from a mobility standpoint, I could still move around. My home is an upstairs and downstairs home. I can go upstairs and downstairs. So things were okay. So then today I go back and I play some basketball earlier this morning, and I'm maybe about 5 games in, and I feel something very similar to the same strain that I had on my back that I had maybe a couple of weeks ago. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Let me just wait to the next game. Let me just do some stretches on the sideline. And as a result of me doing those stretches, maybe I can go ahead and play the next game. I go in and try to play the next game, and they inbound the ball, and it's time for me to guard my guy, and it's time for me to play, and I could barely move. I was like, you know what? There is no way I'm going to even be able to get through this game. So I immediately called timeout. And after I called timeout, I asked another guy to get in for me because, again, I could barely move. So thankfully, one of the things that I've been doing as of lately is I've been taking my daughter with me to the basketball court, to the gym in this case, and my daughter happened to be with me, and here I am, I'm barely walking off the court, and my daughter's like, hey, what's going on? I was like, I can barely move, I can barely walk off the court. So I have my bag, my gym bag, and a couple of things on the floor, and I can't bend at this point, I barely could bend, and my daughter picked those things up for me. She's holding me and helps me to walk to the car. Usually a walk that would take me maybe about 30 seconds or so to get to the car, it took me maybe about 6 or 7 minutes to get to the car because, again, I could barely move. And then, okay, I got to the car. After I got to the car, now it was time for me to bend and try and sit so that way I can go ahead and start the driving process. And bending was, oh my gosh, I was in so much pain from a bending standpoint. But for whatever reason, I think at that point I still had some adrenaline. And that adrenaline allowed me the ability to be able to, successfully bend and then successfully make my way, home. I got home, we drive into the garage, and I tell my daughter, hey, I'm just going to need to sit here for a second because I'm just not feeling so well. So then, my wife comes out and my wife gives me a Tylenol so that way I can try to see if I can offset some of the pain. So she gives me this Tylenol. I take the Tylenol and I sit in the car for about 30 minutes because I can barely move my legs and I can barely move at that point. So maybe about 20 minutes in, I decide to just start, making my way inside the house. And as I'm making my way inside of the house, again, I am literally, I cannot move. I mean, literally, I'm like dragging, and it's very difficult for me to move, and it's very difficult for me to kind of just make any type of movement whatsoever. Keep in mind, I have an upstairs and downstairs, bathroom, upstairs and downstairs home, and all of the rooms are upstairs. We don't have any rooms downstairs, and making it upstairs is just impossible. At this point, I can't make it upstairs. So my wife comes down, she helps me to get changed. She takes care of me and, just kind of just get me situated. And this whole time, I'm just thinking in my mind, like, oh my gosh, like, when am I going to be able to have normal mobility again? Is it going to take me another week? Is it going to take me a couple of weeks? And I'm just thinking about all of these worst case scenarios, and I'm freaking out, to be honest with you, because I can't bend from a mobility standpoint. There's a lot of things that I can't do from a mobility standpoint. I could barely walk, and the only thing that's going through my mind is all of these worst case scenarios. Or like, okay, what about this? What about this? What about that? And what about all of these different things? However, at some point, right, I'm starting to kind of just feel a little bit better. I rubbed some cream on my back, and I put some hot patch on my back. And as a result of me kind of just doing those things, my back starts to loosen up a little bit. And, you know, the next time I got up, I saw that at first I was moving one feet, dragging the other one, moving one feet, dragging the other one, moving one feet, dragging the other one. And all of a sudden I can move both feet as I am accustomed to doing. So I'm moving one feet and then moving the other feet, moving one feet, moving the other feet. I'm like, okay, this is good. This is good news. And, you know, essentially, I didn't think, honestly, that was going to be possible for me so soon. I just, again, started to think about the worst case scenario. And the reason why I'm on here live sharing that with you guys is that sometimes we think about the worst case scenario about so many different things from a business standpoint and from a life standpoint, to the point where it keeps us from even taking the next step. I mean, obviously walking is something that I've been doing for, I don't know, maybe close to 40 years. I'm 41 years old. I've been walking for 40 years. So I know that it is indeed possible to walk, and I've had the success and I've had the experience of walking. However, what if it was something else that was introduced to me, and that thing works and it's possible, but because of my negative thoughts and because of my mindset and because of my thinking towards that thing, I didn't even try. I know, you know, for me and probably for you and for other people, sometimes there are so many different things that is possible for us in our lives, but because of our negative views and because of our mindset towards the thing, we don't even take action, because we're saying to ourselves, well, you know, this is what's going to happen. We paint a negative picture of things when we should not be painting a negative picture of things. I was painting a negative picture of not being able to, like, you know, for instance, go up the stairs. I was having it in my mind. Today is Sunday. I was thinking to myself, I might not be able to go up these stairs to maybe for another week or so. That's the thought. That's the mindset that I had. However, here I am. I'm walking around in my neighborhood. This is something that was not possible, you know, obviously a couple of hours ago, right? 6, 7, 8 hours ago. And now I am doing the thing. But from a projection standpoint, I had already projected in my mind that I wasn't going to be able to accomplish this task and or this goal for another week. So just think about some of the things that you've been presented to, and some of the things that you know is indeed possible, but for whatever reason, because of your negative views about some of those things, it's going to keep you from having a certain level of success as it relates to some of those things. Begin the shifting process, begin the mindset process of just incorporating a different mindset, because if you incorporate a different mindset about some of those things, then my guess is the level of success will probably, there's going to be a direct correlation between your view on the thing, right? So the way that you visualize, this is a visualization thing, right? The way that you visualize something, the higher, if you have a positive visualization about a thing, then the likelihood of you having a positive outcome is just that much more higher. So I wanted to jump online to just basically share that with you guys. And that's why I titled this, I Can Walk Again, because I literally can walk again. I can do one foot instead of just 1 foot and drag. And to me, that's a huge accomplishment. But that wasn't my mindset. I had a not so good mindset towards this outcome. But here I am, I'm accomplishing it. And, you know, I wanted to kind of just share that with you guys to say, challenge yourself. Like, what is possible for you? What is possible in your business? But for whatever reason, you've adapted a negative view. And for whatever reason, you've already accepted defeat, per se. Because that's what I did. I accepted defeat for the next 5 days. I said, you know what? This is going to be my situation. This is going to be my circumstance for the next 5 days. And I've already accepted it. But in all actuality, that is not what it was. Because again, I hadn't gone through this experience again before. I hadn't had this type of pain in the past, so I didn't know what it was like. But I automatically applied, you know, the worst case scenario. So if that's something that you're doing, you know, hopefully this is a certain level of encouragement for you to be able to adapt a different mindset and to be able to adapt a different view about some of the things that are possible. I see a couple of you guys are here with me live. Thanks for tuning in live. If you happen to be catching this live, I see Hillary's live. Hillary, thanks for tuning in. Pound Live, Hillary from Chicago. What's up, Hillary? If you happen to be catching this via the replay, do me a favor and hit pound replay, please. That's it. That's all I have for you, today. I'll talk to you soon.